Here's the honest hook. Claddin X3 is the kind of game that hands you a calculator, a toolbox, and a dungeon key and asks, do you want to break this game or just beat it? If you're here for story, you'll get skits about a villain tournament in a pocket world called Arcana's Shella. Fun flavor, but let's not pretend this is a visual novel. The pulse is numbers, synergies, and dungeons that go deeper than your bedtime. The promise is a build sandbox where the grind becomes the game, not just the means to it. Quick lay of the land. Developed by Nippon Ichi software, published by NIS America, launched September 26, 2025 on PS5, PS Switch, and PC ESRB-T. It looks 16-bit, plays top-down, and locks movement to the 4 cardinal directions. You pick from 10 jobs across 6 weapon types: warrior, mage, ranger, merchants, and saints, then advanced picks like ninja or dragoon later. Every class can wield anything, but skills track to class specialties, so your staff slinger can hold an axe. But don't expect miracles until you spec for it. Combat is simple inputs: attack, jump, dash, with the gotcha that dashing halves your defense and attacks whiff unless you're aligned. That stiffness is intentional friction. You position, you commit, you pay for sloppy angles. Now the steroid shot, the magic circle, sometimes called the power circle. Picture a goofy little path of nodes wrapping around a central main character. You slot in your sub-characters like living batteries, spend their mana to activate nodes that grant stats, passives, and weird conditional effects, and some nodes even mutate paths when you trigger certain abilities. Those subs also soak damage for the main, which is spicy because heavy circles add nasty fail states. Lose a sub, and you might lose the buff scaffolding propping up your glass cannon. Build greed wins fights until it doesn't, and when it collapses, it's spectacular in the bad way. That risk-reward tension is the heart of Cladun's meta. A hardcore gamer loves the depth, but warns populating circles can turn tedious if you're not careful. Cube 3 argues it's optional at first, essential to master later, which is the correct way to put it. You can roll with basic gear and titles for a while, then graduate to black belt circles when your brain's begging for more knobs. The loot and title system ties the room together. Gear drops everywhere, and you can extract titles from junk and socket up to 4 enhancements into a piece you actually care about. Because titles are account-wide, you're basically curating a library of affixes for your stable of characters. 2 warriors can swing the same demonic sword without duplication hassles, so theory crafters get to experiment without a crafting tax. This is why the builds hit that dopamine slot so hard every run. Some small variable changes. Numbers go up, but in ways that alter play, not just inflate stats. Dungeons come in flavors. Story missions are bite-sized one-floor sprints with optional time challenges that award fame, which buys meaningful unlocks like new shops. If you're a speedrunner, the game's secretly flirting with you. There are builds designed to vaporize split times. Then you've got Ran-geons, randomized to 100 floors, designed to test endurance and improvisation. Map-geon spin from mystical maps with special rules, so one run is a hazard puzzle, another a loot piñata. PS3 blog highlights both modes as the variety engine that keeps the grind from feeling like a treadmill. That's accurate as long as you rotate activities. If you marathon a single mode, repetition will tap you on the shoulder, and hardcore gamer is right to flag that. Let's talk pain points, because Cladun's not shy about barbs. Combat has that early stiffness. 4 directions and alignment checks mean your first hour includes whiffs where shouldn't have whiffed. You adjust. It becomes a rhythm game of stutter steps and dash discipline. And once you internalize when to accept half defense to chase invulnerability frames, the feel clicks. The other thorn is menu density. The circle can turn into spreadsheet cosplay if you pig out on slots early. The antidote is pacing. Start with modest circles, feed growth squares with cheap upgrades so subs level with you. Then escalate into the insane circles with fragile but enormous multipliers once your title library is juicy. Cube 3 calls this home for power users, but not a lockout for casuals, and that's the vibe. If you hate menus, you'll bounce. If you tinker, you'll stay up too late. There's also actual creation, which is where Cladun gets downright audacious. You can draw pixel art for characters and tweak weapon looks. You can compose dungeon music using a lightweight scripting-like tool that looks more IDE than toy. Cubed 3 loves this no compromises for power users stance, and they're not wrong. It's refreshing in 2025 to see a game trust you with sharp tools. The flip side, if you want Mario Paint ease, this is not that. You'll either geek out or you'll ignore it and still have a full plate of game. Progression is more than XP bars. Job change resets a character to level 1 in a new role while keeping learned skills, circles, and a chunk of stats. It's the guilt-free respect that fuels long-term min-maxing. Circle growth squares share EXP with subs, so leveling the bench happens naturally if you plan for it. Shops escalate, and yes, there's a black market. Rare gear lives there if your gold can take the hit. Death has teeth. In the big dungeons, you can push deeper for better loot, but dying dumps your haul and chops your resources. Floors sometimes offer exits at tempting intervals, and that push your luck design is where the best stories come from. You will explore a level 50 plus zone at level 20, survive on fumes, and swagger back to town with gear that trivializes your next story branch. Or you'll get greedy and donate your backpack to the floor. Both outcomes are the point. How do the critics split? Hardcore gamer lands at 4-5, praising the sheer volume of customization and loot and warning about circle tedium and repetition if you don't vary your diet. Cube 3 goes 8-10 and frames Claddin X3 as a Swiss Army knife. Deep systems for the obsessed, accessible paths for the rest, a music editor for the few, and a clear on-ramp before the hard math. PS3 blog also hits 8-10, calling out stiff combat that smooths with practice, strong Ran-geon Map-geon variety, and an old-school presentation with solid tunes, plus a meaty trophy list if you're hunting that platinum. No one disagrees on the core loop strength. The caution is pacing your sessions and accepting that some menu micromanagement is part of the fantasy. Veteran Games' take, Claddin X3 is Gauntlet with a doctorate in buildcraft. It's not here to tell an epic, it's here to let you engineer one. If the words socketable titles, growth squares, and risk on exit make your lizard brain purr, this will own your evenings. If you need analog smooth movement and cinematic storytelling, you'll bounce off the edges. The trick to loving Claddin is how you play it. Rotate modes before boredom settles. Start with conservative circles, then unleash the mad science when your title library blooms. Embrace job changes to recycle power into new shapes. And set your own win conditions. A sub-30 story sprint for fame unlocks, or a 100 floor Ran-geon without a death, or a meme class that actually slaps because you found the right 4 titles to paper over its sin. Quick spoiler in 3, 2, 1. The villain tournament for world peace conceit stays window dressing. You'll meet a weapons-obsessed zombie and a hero who is half good, half not, but these are palette cleansers between builds and dives. Spoiler over. The real drama is whether your hubris-heavy circle survives a trap hallway. If this kind of no BS deep dive hits your feed just right, hitch a ride with Veteran Game and hit subscribe. We tear into systems so your time goes where the fun is. Toss a like if you've ever lost your entire loot haul to one greedy floor. Algorithm penance for hubris is tradition around here. Here's the debate starter for the comments. Is Claddin X3 the gold standard for player-authored ARPGs thanks to its build freedom and creator tools? Or does the stiff combat and potential tedium keep it a niche gem for min-max sickos only? Lay out your case, and if you've cracked a disgustingly broken magic circle, flex the blueprint.